and we want to share that with you right now. Inas is there with Raymond and Bee, and then we have Peggy and Amira. Is it? How do you pronounce your name?
Armella.
Aramella. I need to remember that now. Okay, you're live on YouTube. Say hi to fellow students.
Hi.
Right. So it's a tour of Rosebud today, and you can see that there's another group of people down there. We've just given a demonstration of the biodigester dragon, so that's fun. And now Inas is taking the cart, a solar-powered resiliency cart, and parking it. And it's pulled by a golf cart that has two 100-watt solar panels on the roof that are wired in to a charge controller, or energy charge controller. Oh yes, thank you very much.
Oh, you're kidding.
Echo strips. Everything we do here, we try to be as sustainable as possible, and we invite conversation and sharing of these techniques and ideas. And then we have the cart itself, where we were just doing a sort of hayride around the property, which has, he's over there. He's over there. He's with UL. So we got a kilowatt of solar on this cart and a kilowatt on this cart. And the Perpetual Power Station was a donation from the Elizabeth Moore Foundation. And it has in it, a 10 kilowatt on-grid, off-grid inverter and two 2.5 kilowatt lithium iron phosphate batteries. It has on the other side a 110 outlet and a 240 volt outlet. So this is what we use to power the off-grid eco village here. And it does tie into the grid, but when the grid is down, it supplies energy to the village. And when the grid is up and nobody's using power, it sends power to the grid. And it can be moved about and used independently. The 240 volt outlet that it has is useful when we want to use the plastic shredder or the granulator or the glass crusher that use 220 to 240 volts. We can supply that for the duration of the job with that 5 kilowatt battery. And we plug it in there. So now that we have the, yeah, can you just hold on while I replug this into the RV village? So would you take this and videotape? We're live on YouTube here. Give me a second. Just give me a second. Just here. All right. So this is how we do it. You need to learn to do it too, Inas. When we have,
I already know how to do it. I just don't do it much.
so I'm
Thank
gonna
you
turn
to
off the
you.
circuit breakers off at the 240 volt outlet right there. So the circuit breaker's off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the village. Here's the supply to the village back there. I'm going to unplug that from the grid and plug us into, oh, I think you didn't pull it up enough for me. So I'll plug this in and turn on the circuit breaker. And now the village is being supplied by the cart. But I also want to send electricity back to the grid to lower the costs of the whole property. So I'm going to plug this in, and that way, because there's nobody using any electricity right now, we will be sending power back to the grid. All right, so now power is coming from that battery, from those solar panels, and it is going into the grid while it's also sending power to the property, to the RV village. When we start using power, we'll draw power off this battery, and if we draw more than we produce from the solar panels, then of course it will pull from the grid. But since nobody's home, we're out doing tours, we are going to be net positive, sending power back to the grid. And that is our,
Can you unhook for me? I need to take.
oh, then I have to unhook it. So let me do that. Also,
Can
I'll
you
get
please
this. Here,
unhook
hold on to this.
I need to.
Here,
You
go
have
ahead.
a
I'll unhook
student
it.
who wants to
okay.
interview
Yep. So now what we do here, when we want to use the solar golf cart, we remove this cotter pin, pop this out, move this over, pop it back down, and put the cotter pin back in. Now we've decoupled from the 2 kilowatt mobile solar resiliency, and now the golf cart, which is running off of these two 100 watt panels, can be used. And so we can, there we go. Alrighty. So, there we have it. Oh, Peggy, you should see this. If you look under the wheel, I'm doing an experiment.
Yes.
This is an area that was damaged, and so it's just sand and rock,
Yes.
and it's dead.
Mm-hmm.
I poured food waste like you saw me do there.
Already.
Yeah, and this is the food waste when it dries.
Oh my gosh.
So this is just food waste forming a kind of protective layer
Yes.
so that the ants, which you can see down there, the ants can start doing their work, bringing food down and eventually bringing plants back to this.
Yes.
So what happens if you just pour food waste on the ground, you get this protective layer. It doesn't attract any vermin.
This make a difference already.
Yeah. So this is the food waste, what you saw me do over there.
Oh, wow.
This area was damaged. It's just sand and rock. So nothing was growing.
It with that?
So I'm protecting it by just pouring food waste. I make a layer.
That's very nice.
And then as you can see under
And then
here,
over time, obviously.
yeah, see the ants, well they just hid from the light. But the ants are living under here now. Well, there they are. There's the ants right there.
I see
Yeah,
ants.
see the ants?
Yes.
So this is going to help us repair the soil.
Oh, so over the time, and they're gonna like.
And this will turn into soil in time itself. What happens in the sun is it simply dries and becomes a layer that protects what's underneath it. If I keep pouring layer after layer, then I'm going to begin to get soil when I inoculate it with soil. So what I have to do for my next layer is get a handful of healthy soil, scatter it down so the microbes are there, pour food waste on top of that, and then those microbes will eat the food and turn soil. Yeah.
Definitely. That's something.
Yeah, so that's what we're working on there.
Yes, they're all around you.
Okay, so I guess I'm done with this broadcast.